The next week, the House is expected to consider the following bills at various stages, some of which are listed in today's order paper. 1, Committee of the Whole House on the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill 2023. 2, the National Government Constituency Development Fund Amendment Bill 2023. And C, the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023. Honorable Speaker, kindly protect me from the Honorable Sunguya, who is behaving like he's selling cattle at Kiserian Market. He's conversing in Kimasai right behind me. Honorable Speaker is
Order, Honorable Sunguya.
No, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Kangogo and Honorable Sunguya are being a very bad example to younger members. Because they have been here long enough and these speakers pick up everything that they will converse in vernacular behind the person who is speaking. It's only fair when someone is up on his feet speaking that those around them, one, desist from conversing in vernacular because Kenyans do not understand your vernaculars. 2, except those from your village, of course. And now, Honorable Speaker, Kangogo is from one region of the country. The other one is another pastor, is from another part of the country, Honorable Speaker. You can guess the kind of conversation that was there about cattle and... Honorable Speaker, if I can move on, 2 is a second reading. And I was saying that, Honorable Speaker, so that we also get the attention of members on the Committee of the Whole House on the National Government Constituency Development Fund Amendment Bill of 2023. And I can see the Honorable Kwenya Thuku has noted, I know what interest he has in that bill. So those who had an issue with that bill, it is scheduled for Committee of the Whole next week. 2, Honorable Speaker, is the second reading of the National Lottery Bill of 2023, the Gambling Control Bill of 2023, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill of 2023, and the second reading of the Land Laws Amendment Bill of 2023. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, debate will also be undertaken on the following motions, some of which are listed in the order paper today, should they not be concluded in the course of the sitting this afternoon. 1, report on the loans contracted by the national government between May 2022 and April 2023. 2, report of the Kenya delegation to the 4th General Assembly of the Eastern Africa Parliamentary Alliance on Food Security and Nutrition, EAPA-FSN, held in Kigali, Rwanda. 3, reports of the Auditor General on 23 non-compliant state corporations. 4, report on the proceedings of the second ordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament. 5, report on the proceedings of the 2023 United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. And 6, report on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms. Honorable Speaker, with regards to the attendance of Cabinet Secretaries to answer questions from members, I wish to inform the House that due to priority business scheduled for next week, the Cabinet Secretaries that were scheduled to appear on Wednesday, 29th, November 2023, have been rescheduled to a later date. Honorable Speaker, this is to allow us to conclude on the very important government bills that are scheduled for the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday sittings next week. Honorable Speaker, finally, with regards to the attendance of, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, the House Business Committee shall reconvene on Tuesday, 28th November 2023 to schedule business for the rest of the week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Are you done with all your statement? Nothing else? Okay. Right, let's move to the next order.
Order number 8, motion. Consideration of Senate amendments to the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023.
Chairperson for the Budget and Appropriations Committee, Honorable Didi Nyoro.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move the report on the amendments by the Senate on the County Government Additional Allocations Bill 2023, that is National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, around June, we came to this House and we moved this bill, Honorable Speaker, and then as should be, it proceeded to the Senate. And Honorable Speaker, what happens in the process of this kind of a bill, if the Senate amends even a comma on the bill, it should then therefore come back to this House for concurrence. And from the onset, Honorable Speaker, it is important that I put this across as I start, that even as I move, the Budget and Appropriations
So,
Committee.
Honorable Chair, just move it as is, and then you can proceed to justify.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
I know you always do it the other way around.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the guidance. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate amendments to the County Government Additional Allocation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023 be now considered.
Asante, now you can proceed to justify.
Honorable Speaker, in June of this year, we came before this House as the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and this House actually passed the County Government Additional Allocation Bill then. And the way it should be is that once we consider and pass such kind of a bill, and it proceeds to the Senate, then the Senate should consider, and if there is any amendment on this kind of bill, then the bill should come back to this House, and if there is concurrence, then we proceed. But if we reject, then we go to the mediation. And from the onset, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that the Budget and Appropriations Committee met for the last 2 weeks, and we considered the report from the Senate. And Honorable Speaker, I stand here because the Budget and Appropriations Committee actually rejected the amended version from the Senate. And Honorable Speaker, I want to make it very clear that, and I am repeating just for guidance of this House, that we actually rejected the amended version from the Senate. Honorable Speaker, the additional allocations that we make to the counties are usually conditional and non-conditional allocations. And Honorable Speaker, one of the premises that the Budget and Appropriations Committee actually rejected the amended version from the Senate is specifically number 1 on the library services budget, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are some 33 counties that have previously been considered with conditional grants to the county governments, Honorable Speaker, specifically to take care of the library services, and also insofar as the salaries of the officers in running of those library services is concerned. And Honorable Speaker, what happened is that there has been a case that had been sponsored by our governors for the last few years in regards to what constitutes equitable share. And in that regard, Honorable Speaker, some of these conditional and non-conditional grants were exempted by the coast to be considered under equitable share. Now, what happened is that this House previously passed the non-amended version, Honorable Speaker, that then included that monies for library services. And Honorable Speaker, what happened is that when it proceeded to the Senate, then these monies were actually, previously we had allocated equally, Honorable Speaker, because any monies that again goes to the equitable share, then it is subjected to the formula that is made by the CRA. That is the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Honorable Speaker, then what happened is that when this bill proceeded to the Senate, then the Senate amended that bill by adding 428 billion Kenya shillings, actually 424 billion Kenya shillings, monies then they are considering as conditional grants to the library services. So what literally we are doing is to actually double allocate monies for the library services, because this house actually had allocated that money, then it was divided equally, because once it goes to the equitable share, according to the judgment of the courts, is that these kind of monies then are subjected to the formula. But then, Honorable Speaker, upon proceeding to the Senate, then these monies, again, the Senate proposed to add an equivalent amount. The ramification of this, Honorable Speaker, is that the way we had divided before, using the equitable share, is that out of the 33 counties, actually 11 out of those were getting additional monies that they ought to have gotten. And 22 are losing, some of which are losing marginally. Then 14 counties are benefiting from this kitty inadvertently, because they are not part of the 33 counties that were previously designed to earn money from this kitty or from these conditional grants. Honorable Speaker, the other area that made us reject the amended version from the Senate is that there are some conditional grants that county governments get from the national government. Now, what the Senate were proposing is that these monies given by the national government should not pass through MDAs, but the county government should get these monies directly. Some of these, Honorable Speaker, is the monies that the national government actually advances to 5 county governments for building of county headquarters for counties that never had existing structures before, and especially in the headquarters. Honorable Speaker, what the Senate are proposing is that in this kind of conditional grants, then the counties should receive monies directly, and therefore we exempt the role of MDAs in terms of oversighting these conditional grants. Honorable Speaker, we want to revert back to what this House passed, and that is why we recommended for the rejection of the amended version of the bill, Honorable Speaker, because number one, we have already appropriated monies for this financial year. And then, when the Senate then returns the bill for us to fund extra monies to a tune of 424 million, Honorable Speaker, this money is not provisioned in the budget, and therefore will be contravening the same appropriations bill that you already passed in this House and that which the Treasury is currently implementing. Honorable Speaker, as I come to the conclusion, I also want to laud our governors, because this is not an issue around governance, and especially county governments. Our governors have continued to do their bit and to work very hard. I also want to laud the Senate, because disagreement does not necessarily mean that there is anything between both houses. It is just a consideration in principle. Our Senate has been doing a great job in terms of supporting devolution. Honorable Speaker, for this proceed to mediation, it does not mean that there is any house that is looking down on any. We are all equal members of parliament, and we respect the Senate and the great role they are playing in terms of advancing devolution in Kenya. And this is just a matter of principle that we have appropriated these monies. The monies that are being, the Senate is seeking to introduce is not in the appropriations bill as it is now, and therefore it will be in vain that we actually adopt a report that is suggesting extra resources that are not available. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I wish and I hope that once we proceed to the mediation, we'll be able to iron out these small issues so that counties can then receive the monies due to them. Honorable Speaker, I also want to laud this administration led by our president, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. And I'm saying this because, Honorable Speaker, we are doing something unprecedented, that our counties are now receiving monies, and especially equitable share, in time. Honorable Speaker, by the close of the last financial year, we actually crossed over this financial year with no arrears owed to our county governments. And therefore, this is very, very important, because we are actually not just devolving functions. We are also making sure that our esteemed governors are able to discharge their duties without the handicap of illiquidity. Honorable Speaker, also this goes a long way into reducing some of the unnecessary expenses, and especially that which are around interest rates, when, for example, county governments take overdrafts from commercial banks to pay some of the monies that has no luxury to wait, for example, salaries. Honorable Speaker, by advancing monies to our county governments in time, we are reducing on those kind of expenditure, and therefore it is something that is laudable. Honorable Speaker, again, just to repeat, the fact that this House is rejecting the proposed version from the Senate, this is just part of our job, and it is in no way, Honorable Speaker, trying to undo the work of the Senate. And I'm repeating, just because these houses have been working very harmoniously, we are just rejecting in principle, because there is actually no monies toward, because the appropriations bill is already passed by this House, and therefore we cannot then come back and then pass a bill that is proposing more monies that are not available. I have just repeated that 3 times to buttress the fact that this is just part of our work. We can reject, then we go to mediation, and then we are able to get a way out. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the members of the Budget Committee, the members of this House, our technical team in the Parliamentary Budget Office, led by, of course, Millicent, who is here, with Kyoko, and all the other members who have taken part in coming up with this report. And with those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to request the Vice Chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, the Honorable Mary Emase, to second.
Give Honorable Emase the mic. Oh, there she is.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to second the bill, the motion. And from the onset, I want to say that the county government additional allocation bill is normally a very straightforward bill that is just meant to provide for additional allocations to the county government, either from national government's share as conditional grant for devolved functions, or unconditional allocations, like in this case, to provide county governments with additional funds collected from court fines, collected from mineral royalties, and also conditional allocation from loans and grants from our partners. As already been explained by the chair, I want to say that even as we prepare to get into mediation, I know that those who will find themselves in that stream should prosecute this matter with the urgency that it deserves, so that county governments can get money. But Madam Speaker, even as we discuss disbursement of additional funds to the counties, I was looking at the reports on poverty index, and I was saddened by how some of our counties are doing very badly. Busiao is being ranked the 3rd last at the bottom in terms of development. And I'm foreseeing a situation in the future, in another decade or 2, where we're going to have a replica of developed world and the underdeveloped and the least developed. So as we appropriate and devolve monies to the county government, I want to implore the governors to use the money for the purposes intended for, If it's a conditionally allocation, it should be appropriated and used for the purpose for which it was intended for. So, Madam Speaker, I second this motion. And I want to leave there and give opportunity for most of the members to contribute. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Senate amendments to the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023, be now considered. Okay, I see the mood of the House that I put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Senate amendments to the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023, be now considered. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. We go to the committee of the proceed. Next order.
Order number 9, Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable, order members. You may resume your seats. Members, during this stage, we'll allow a few comments at this stage. So I would request members to resume their seats. Members who may want to say something or two on this, resume your seats. We'll allow
Thank you, members. We are now in the committee of the whole, and as usual, members, you know how it works. So let's proceed.
Senate amendment to clause 4.
Clause 4, Chair.
Thank you very
I
much.
propose, just wait, just give a minute. I propose the question. Order. Order, members. I propose the question that the Senate amendments to clause 4 of the County Government Additional Allocations Bill be now approved. Chair of Budget Committee.
Honorable Chair, allow me, because I do not want to belabor the point and repeat myself again and again on every clause, you allow me just to make a brief statement. As I said before, the County Government Additional Allocation Bill emanates from here. Then we take again to the Senate. And if the Senate amends any of the clauses of the bill, then it comes back here. Once it comes back here, this House may go with the side, may go on the side of the Senate proposal, or we reject. But Honorable Speaker, upon the perusal of the amendments as the Budget and Appropriations Committee, we made a decision to reject. And we rejected not because there is supremacy between this House and the other. It is purely on principle. Number one of the issues in consideration was the library services. The library services, there was money 424 million, which had been appropriated for 33 counties. But then these monies were put at the equitable share because it's a devolved function. Then what happens is that when this bill went to Senate, then Senate is proposing, on top of the 424 million we had already appropriated, that we add a similar amount, then now to go to the 33 counties. Honorable Speaker, this House has already passed the appropriations bill. So the monies that we are drawing for any MDA or county government is actually coming from the express authority from the appropriations bill. And therefore there is actually no money to give in terms of addition. The second issue that we actually rejected is that, and this is the last one, Honorable Speaker, is that Senate is proposing that the conditional grants that we give to county governments that they receive this money directly. So what usually happens, for example, the monies to build headquarters for 5 counties, is that there is supervisory role from the public works. So if we then set these monies direct, we are taking away the role of supervising from the relevant MDA. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, on all the 6 clauses, so that I don't repeat myself, we are actually against all the amendments, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, we are actually voting nay, we are rejecting.
Thank you. The chair of Finance Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. You know, without overemphasizing that this committee of the whole, ideally we could have dealt with the issue before, but that's water under the bridge. So the import of the voting of these particular clauses is that if we accept the clauses as recommended by the Senate, that means you'll be allocating the money, will be agreeing with the recommendations by the Senate. The problem with that is we already passed the appropriations bill. Now it's an appropriations act. So in terms of a double entry debit credit way, then you are allocating additional funds to something, but you have not provided for that money. So in essence, even if we were to agree with these recommendations by the Senate, they would be irregular and illegal, because unless, again, we do an amendment to the Appropriations Act so that we would provide this money that they are providing for additional allocation for this particular service, for this particular votes as described by the Chair of Budget. So essentially now is if this House, I beg that we agree that we reject these amendments by the Senate and therefore vote no to all those clauses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now I must allow this side. I'll give the Honorable Tuku.
Thank you, Chair. Whereas I agree with the Chair Budget in his language, he's very polite in terms of the fact that Senate is attempting to appropriate money which is not within their purview. The role of appropriating is that is under the purview of the National Assembly, and indeed, once appropriation bill is passed, then that's it. The only other thing, the only thing that Senate can do, maybe reallocating, redistributing, but in terms of appropriating, that is the business of the National Assembly.
Thank you. The Honorable Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, 2 issues. The first one, Honorable Chair, I want to thank my chairman for what he's saying. I think if we had moved the House to that direction, we should actually have killed this bill at motion number 8 by voting no, so that we will not have no need for 9. But now that we are past that, Honorable Chair, because we voted yes, it means we have now to go clause by clause. What we need to do, Honorable Chair, is because we can't do just all clauses, we say no. Just take us through the motion very quickly, clause by clause. No, 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 no. We clear this and we go to the next level.
Thank you. The Honorable Zamzam.
Mheshimiwa Spika, inatamausha sana chairman, wakati spika ameshazungumza akapitisha jambo kisha linaenda kujadiliwa kando liweze kuwa reversed. Hawa governors wamepata matatizo mengi sana na sisi tumeshuhudiwa, Mheshimiwa Chairman. Tukiangalia hata mafuriko, gavana wetu ametukanwa sana kwa kukosa pesa. Na sisi tunasema hizi pesa ambazo wameomba kule, Chairman wa budget, kwa hisani yako, vile imepita hapa ni Mungu ametaka zipite, kaunti zipate pesa. Wapeni magavana pesa waweze kufanya kazi, tujenge taifa pamoja. Na hili limeshapita Chair, ni kazi ya Mungu, wale watu wa chini waweze kusaidika. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Chairman.
Members, we have 4 clauses. Let me put a question on this one, then you can speak on the next clause. So now, therefore, put the question. I put the question that the Senate amendments to clause 4 of the county government additional elections bill be now approved. As many other opinion say aye. As many other opinion say nay. Of course, the nays have it.
Senate amendment to clause 5.
I now propose the question. The Honorable, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Wanjala, you obviously know, you've been in this house for donkey years. You now know, you know the rules, Honorable Wanjala. Yes, and you obviously don't have the numbers, so may you resume your seats. I now propose the question that the Senate amendments to clause 5 of the County Government Additional Locations Bill be now approved.
Put the question.
I now put the question that clause 5 of the County Government Additional Allocations Bill, Bill number 23 of 2023, be now approved. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. The nays have it. The Honorable Wanjala, what's out of order? Give it to him. Yes, Honorable Wanjala, you have the mic.
Mr. Speaker, it's unfortunate that I was raising a point and you disregarded me, and whatever I was raising about has passed.
You are now regarded.
But Mr. Speaker, I'm wondering that the people on the other side who are the shareholders, they seem not to be knowing what they are doing. They are being spoon-fed by the chairman of Finance Committee by crossing his funds like that, which is wrong. They're supposed to vote on their own. They're supposed to think, you shareholders.
Honorable Wanjala, you can do the same to your side.
Senate amendment to clause 8.
I now propose the question that the Senate amendments to clause 8 of the County Government Additional Elections Bill of 2023 of number 23 of 2023 be now approved. The member for Nyando. You have the mic. Go ahead.
Not functional.
Use the next one.
Use this one.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, firstly, we must acknowledge that we are in a bit of a quandary. Honorable Speaker, you know, first and foremost, Honorable Speaker, there is nothing unconstitutional that our Senate colleagues have done. They have expressed themselves on this most fundamental issue, and that matter has been brought to us. Under the spirit of complementarity, we wouldn't wish to create friction between the two houses. Yes. And that is why the drafters of this constitution saw it wise to come up with a mediation so that there is a middle ground where both warring factions can meet. Honorable Speaker, what is being demonstrated on the floor of this House this afternoon is to undermine our very good ladies, our very good gentlemen who make laws in the other House, in the Senate, Honorable Speaker. It is an absurdity, so to speak, that we have to be shepherded, we have to be shown which direction to take. Whereas when we came to this House, Honorable Speaker, we have our own conscience. We have our own intellect. We have our own know-how. And no one should dictate to us how to vote a particular way or not, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I think that because we would want to maintain the friendship, the brotherhood and sisterhood that exists between the two houses, let us employ a high degree of decorum even as we go through this bill, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I think, Honorable Speaker, that without being coerced by anybody from across the aisle,
thank you,
we must accept all the proposals as they came from the Senate. Because, Honorable Speaker, finally, our governors.
Allow him to finish. Give him his time.
Please give me time. Give me time to speak. Honorable Chair, what the country is experiencing now on the matter of flooding is a shame to this country. And there are one part
Honorable member for Nyando.
Kindly give me time to prosecute my matter.
I have.
kindly. The country is going through a very difficult situation with flooding. We have lost more than 80 lives.
Thank you.
80 people have since died
you.
as a result
Thank
of
you.
flooding.
Thank you.
The monies are domiciled here in Nairobi.
Thank you. The member for Nyando, I think we are the committee of the whole. Give him 30 seconds.
Only one
And
more
be,
minute.
just, let's be
Thank
relevant.
you.
Be relevant on
thank
this
you.
matter.
Honorable Speaker, whereas monies are sitting pretty here in Nairobi, our governors have nothing, no recourse, no money to handle the flooding menace that has claimed more than 80 lives, Honorable Speaker.
Just a minute.
Want to
Order.
believe
The member
that
for
sense
Nyando.
is going to prevail in
Order.
this
Member
house,
for Nyando.
and money will be given
member for
to
Nyando.
the governors.
Just to ask, the member for Nyando, is there any money for floods on this bill? The chair of budget committee.
Honorable Chair, and I highly regard the two members who have spoken, Honorable Zamzam and my friend, Honorable Okello, but there is no point of sensationalizing this matter. Because, Honorable Speaker, the question before us is very simple. We are not fighting within a house. This house, the National Assembly and the Senate, we work very well and very smoothly. The issue before us is one. We took the national government additional allocation bill to the Senate. Let me go sequentially.
No, you don't have so
There
much
is
time.
monies already allocated.
Chairman, you don't have so much time.
Yes. Then the point I'm trying to make, the additional resources as proposed by the amendment from the Senate, number one, is not money for floods. And there is no flexibility on how to use the money. The money is purely for library services. Then those monies we are already provided for. Then as we go through the amendments from the Senate, Honorable Speaker, we can only appropriate money that is already in the Appropriations Act. These monies are not there. And therefore, even if we were to pass, then it is in futility. And lastly, how do we go to mediation? We have already rejected the first amendment. Consequently, we are already mediating, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In fact, the point I wanted to make in regard to what the member for Nyando was saying has already been made by the Chair, Budget and Appropriations, because there is nothing untold that we are doing in rejecting all these amendments, because the next natural course of action is to go into mediation. And good relations between the two houses is to mediate and agree on a common position. And therefore, Honorable Chair, I just want to urge members to join the Chair of Budget in rejecting not just this amendment, but even the following two amendments.
Every government official is talking about it. And that's why this report becomes very important. And I really would want to urge my colleagues, the honorable members, to take very seriously the recommendations of this report, because it provides a roadmap as we move to the future. Honorable Speaker, even if the world go, you have heard my chair say that we have signed about 11 loans